Hi, this is Mia, and I don't want to be up right now, but 7:32. I want to be up. My eyes are still, like, filmy looking. I just watched, I couldn't sleep last night at, 11 something, 11:30. I had made this tea that's in the fridge. It has melatonin, but I keep forgetting to go drink a few sips of it. I don't want it to go bad, because it's in one of my honey jars. I'll probably try to drink the whole thing tonight, or at least half of it. I didn't even finish last night's tea. I couldn't find rooibos somewhere, and I started drinking, I meant to use the, liquid honey packs. I got the pregnancy tea. I was trying to hide it from my boyfriend, so I wouldn't think I was pregnant. More like perimenopausal. I just watched This Is Monsters. I've been watching This Is Monsters when I couldn't sleep, which is embarrassing. And this author, this vlog, I guess it's not a vlog, I guess it's a vlog. This guy on YouTube has podcast too. He has, Somewhere Sinister. And there was one about someone, I don't know, a street kid in Portland. I was scared to watch that last night because my kids in our house, but I watched one. Oh shoot, I don't remember the name, but it was Seattle. Was it Seattle? I think it was in Seattle. It was one of the bridges that people committed suicide. And apparently I fell asleep 1/3 of the way through last night, finally. His voice is soothing. And I ended up just finishing it just now. And I read through one of the comments who had somebody had their ailment, their mental health condition, keep giving the same medication. I call a black box warning that says that this medication, especially in your demographic, your age group, would increase your suicidal ideations, or tendencies, and homicidal. It could be like that. The black box warning, like, I had a doctor who's an MD and an ND, Dr. Miller, I'll give him credit, and he taught pharmacology. He taught a lot of stuff, but he taught our pharmacology. I think we had two terms. We had two terms specifically with pharmacology, but in naturopathic medical school, the one I went to, you learn about every disease first year from different perspectives. Every class is like, how many diseases are there? Thousands. They get to learn everything. It's really intense if were really stupid like me and didn't do a lot of medical stuff. Like, some people had done medical stuff in the past, or taken different classes, anatomy, physiology. Like, I only audited a little bit of it. Anyways, I was really ignorant about the human body and about the conditions. Despite our whole family having all these different elements, that helps you learn. Being in my teeth, I have a really bad toothache, guys. I might go up to this dentist tomorrow for an emergency appointment. I could have gone to an appointment across the bridge at 10:15, but these dang taxes are killing me. Like, I don't want to say that. Anyways, I'm talking about suicide. Alright, so I always think of the black box in the airplane. And I keep praying for those people in China. That was so devastating when a plane crashes. I can't take it. I'm going to go on a plane soon. In my med school, we learned so much now. I found out some of my friends that had been there longer didn't go to class. And they wondered why I retained so much information. I think it's the fact that they didn't get that information. When you get a packet to study for an exam, that's only a portion of what you learned during class. You can have classes that are 4 hours long, 2 hours long, 3 hours long, multiple times a week. And we had one that was 5 hours of lecture a week, something like that. And they like made it into like 7.5 or something. When I went up in years. Like, could you imagine sitting in that same class? Like, and that was anatomy and physiology of organ systems. But we had also a lab that was, I don't know if I think most labs are only 1 credit hour, even if they're 2 or 3 hours in length. But you know how biology and stuff, you have to take the lab and the lecture at the same time. Anyways, I'm just trying to tell you that most people don't know that when you actually go to school, medical school or naturopathic medical school, you learn everything like an MD and a counselor and a DO and a chiropractor. At least at mine, we had a lot of chiropractors and physical therapy chiropractors, and then homeopathy. We had MDs teaching homeopathy. We had MDs and DOs teaching anatomy, lab, or we call it dead lab. We had combo degrees, like I said, Dr. Miller. Oh, I was thinking surgery. We had different doctors teach surgery. So we had an ND teaching on surgery. And he was an EMT a long, long time ago. And we had the other teacher for a while was an MD. Then another teacher, when I got up in years, I had him for genetics. And he taught surgery also. And he was a DO. That guy got sick. I don't know what happened to him. He was one of my favorite teachers. I'm very concerned. He's just a prepper. I can't want to call him Kevin. His name's not Kevin. I can't remember his name. I feel so bad. Anyways, the black box warning, in my opinion, and my language could be strange, was if you have a certain medication, it's like, oh my gosh, this is a very, very high risk. So you can see your medication, they're like, oh, this might cause dizziness, do not operate machinery, blah, 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 blah. But for the psych meds, there was a whole lot of black box warnings, and I had been prescribed Prozac for a trial when I was a kid, or I guess, was I 17, or I think I was 18 or 19. I might have been 20. And I ended up getting, I was thinking I was going to get Valium or something. I was called Valium. Prozac was giving out free samples in the college clinic at Michigan State University, and I went to the pharmacy and got like these packets. I don't even know if it was in a bottle. I feel like it might not have been in little packets, but I ended up getting that. And I ended up feeling like, this is my brain. And you know how you take a dry erase board and you write a lot of stuff on it. Say you have all the winning lotto numbers and somebody takes this used to happen by the way, when I was taking tests. Somebody takes a spray bottle or a bottle of oil or alcohol and it just starts dripping and like fizzling away and just melting away, and you're like, no. I can feel that happening with my brain. My partner told me to take a pharmacogenetic test that he had taken. I had done it during COVID. I had got a cheek swab. My doctor, prescriber at the time, Dr. Wolf, I wish he was still my doctor, had the nurse or the lab person come in and do that swab. I got the results back. And it tells you what medications you're compatible with. And I was actually surprised. It's not called pharmacogenetic. It's called something else. I can't remember. My boyfriend is good at remembering long words. But basically, it's. Sometimes I wonder if it's my mind is like, oh, is this not pharmaceutical? Is this trial, like not trial, but experimental or something? Because you don't hear a lot of people getting this done. And guess what was one of the very worst medications on that chart? Was it 20 years later? Prozac. And I went back to the I actually saw a psychiatrist. He was an Asian guy. He looked at me like, no, I'm going to give you Prozac. I remember sitting here at like a desk. I had to sit in a chair, and I went and got the medicine. I took the medicine, and it said, do not use with alcohol, and I was a huge alcoholic. And I said, I'm going on a trip to Steamboat Springs, so the ski club, and I was going to plan on drinking. I'm pretty sure I was drunk before we left the parking lot in the bus. They used to pass around all this alcohol, Goldschlag or something. I don't know. So drink that crap. And I got some gold inside me. That's gonna be my hope. I'm giving you guys hope. I still feel the way that I felt as a child, but I don't try to commit suicide. But like this video was talking about, I'm gonna cry. The people had either impulsively or when you get to a breaking point, were able to jump off this bridge. And a whole bunch of people jumped off this bridge in the city. Folks said that they're not going to pay or have the bridge design changed because they're putting up suicide barriers. And it just made me sick to my stomach. What if it happens to their husband or their wife or their child or their niece or nephew or their grandchild? Like, my tissues are on the other side of the room. I had one. My boyfriend's cousin. There's a bunch of Quakers here in Easton, Maryland. The Bay Bridge is about down the street, about 40 minutes. He jumped and died. It suffered. They said when they found his body, it looked like he had suffered and was alive for hours in the cold water. And my boyfriend had seen him right before the bridge, and his ex-wife wouldn't let him in the house, and he was struggling. And so they were outside, and my boyfriend fixed his car, and that car got him to the bridge. He abandoned the car on the side of the road and jumped. And I found, I think in the storage unit, I don't know where it is now, Jakey, school picture, or yearbook, or picture, I don't remember. It's just a couple things that I had brought us. This doesn't need to be, I always get scared we're not going to pay the bill, you're going to lose everything. This doesn't need to be in storage. I didn't want to trigger my partner. I drive across that bridge for my medical job. I have very few patients. I have 3. It took me 2.5 years to get 3 patients, and 2 of them are the same family. Anyways, but I go across that bridge. I was going across to get water. I was going across for the census. Or, sorry, food. And, a moment of silence was not even planned. I'm going to keep everyone else anonymous. So I'm going to share. Stuff happens. And there's that point of hopelessness is so strong that you cannot bear it. And you know the consequences of what your plan goes to. And if you're like me and you spent your whole childhood hovering down close to the suicide, I don't want to live anymore, where you see a lot of people in the world are up here. I feel like some people could be like this, but you feel like the people that don't get it are either up there or they're in denial. Or they could be so high and drunk that they don't consider that, or they could be doing something, having affairs and stealing money, white collar crimes, that they get this endorphin rush, which keeps you from the bottom. Except I would get rushes from, well, I take alcohol as depressant. I would get to where I think I was a jolly drunk and hanging out with people, and I'd end up dropping into deep. This is when I was a young adult. I was suicidal when I was a young child, about 7, 8, 9 years old. I was taking bottles of pills. I was putting plastic bags on my head. I'm not even going to say what else, because I don't want to give anybody ideas. I wrote letters, and I hid him. The bed was starting to fall apart. The box spring has that, like, felt. It was not felt, but it's like that clear, opaque, white, like, kind of rough fabric. Kind of real fibrous. There was a part, I don't know if I cut it or if it was getting a hole in it, and I shoved in some suicide notes, and I went to go retrieve those later, and I couldn't find them. So I was like, my mom in here going under my bed. I thought I hid a condom under there too. I never could find those letters. Like, did she search in my whole dang room when I'm gone? I said, I want to live. I wrote so many letters, just letter after letter. I had this poetry. I had all of this dark stuff, and nobody offered help. I went to a counselor when I was going to go to a movie with my boyfriend and my friends, and my dad said no. And was going to see Home Alone 2 for Pete's sakes. Home Alone 1 has been one of my top favorite movies. I was going to go see Home Alone. I was like 16 or 17 years old. I think I might have been 15. We were in a small town. We had a theater in that town, and a theater in Tallis. My dad said no, and I was really frustrated, and I was mad, and I was like, Mom, blah, blah, blah. She goes, why don't you go stay at Heather's house? And Heather was, my mom thought their family was good, because the dad was one of the directors at the City Oscoda bus, whatever you call it, for school kids, and the thing is, they had a condo or something up in Traverse City, and they used to take the little boy and leave the girl home with a keg. And my mom thought, oh, this is a nice family. You could spend the night over there, blah, blah. I mean, during the work week, they didn't do it, but she'd have parties on the weekend. The whole town would come. And we're like, party. I appreciate her house was so spotless. I appreciate people with spotless houses. I've never been able to do it. Temporarily in a hotel I can, but I haven't ever been able to keep a house. I'm really bad at it. I think it's a reflection on myself. Just a trashy, not important, just looks like the trash heap in Oscar the Grouch, you know. I got a couple letters from my mom. I think one to get to schools, and she's going to stay at Heather's house for about 3-4 days. And another one for the bus drivers. She's going to stay at Heather's house. She's going to ride the bus. And I guess because I lived at the end of the bus route where they had to turn around, every time that happened, my mom would call the bus. So she probably called the bus to say that I'm not going to be on the bus for the next 3 or 4 days. So you don't have to come down that far. And so I ended up, having a letter from my mom, 2 letters from my mom. I think I had an excuse for school, but I definitely had one for the bus so that I would be allowed to go on Heather's bus. She lived on, what's it called? Not Loud Island. She lived on an island in town. To get on the bus and to come home on the bus. Because back then everything was so formal. You didn't just like show up and I'm going home with this kid, you know. The next day I get a phone call, or not a phone call. I'm in class. I get called out of class. One of my parents or both of my parents called the school and said that I was a teenage runaway and that I was in big trouble. My mom was the one I might have asked, but somehow we worked it out, and that's back in the day where moms called the other moms to be like, oh, is it okay? Is it really okay that my daughter spends the night? You know, we didn't have cell phones and texts, and if you made a phone call, if you still had the wire on it, then you can even make a private call because you had to be in the main living part of the house. If you even had a cordless phone, you would be, you know what I mean. So somehow the parents worked out that I was going to be able to spend the night, and I packed a few clothes, underwear, whatever, toothbrush. I ended up staying at my friend's house, and my boyfriend came over one day and was kissing me, when he started biting me, and I looked up, and my mom was standing behind him watching it. I was like, oh, snap. I didn't think my mom was going to be over there. But anyways, the worst part is the next day, a counselor, this stubby guy, all I can think is he was real stubby and had these short little arms and hands. And the only reason I make fun of him is because I don't like him. It's not because he had some kind of body ailment or disability, but and they weren't that short, but that's all I remember, like a caricature. He started yelling and screaming and said he was calling the cops on me and how disobedient and how I was breaking the law by being a runaway and that, all this stuff. So I couldn't convince him anyway, so I cried all day. My friend saw me at lunch. It's like, I was in there all day, and he wouldn't let me out, wouldn't let me use the bathroom. My friend said, hey, at least let her come out and eat lunch. And he gave in to my friend. My friend Mary was super tall. My friend Anita was a black Filipino. She's like, you need to get my friend. So I was like, thank God. When you think about not having friends, like I say I don't have friends a lot. When you think that there's a couple people that got your back sometimes in your life, because I have so few friends, stuff like that really stands out. My friend Heather, that really stands out because I don't have a lot of people in my life. And I try to be friends with these people. Heather doesn't live that far from my boyfriend's place is. So she was supposed to actually visit during COVID. I don't know. She never contacted me. She was supposed to meet another friend at Starbucks or something, and they were supposed to call me. That's okay. I consider calling her. I get scared because I had issues with adultery, bringing other women that were friends or that played with my kids, and then they would hit on my husband, and my husband cheated on me. Like, I get really afraid, especially, even that one that cheated was married, or at least had a boyfriend, domestic partnership, but I think my friend is, I don't know if she's still married. I get all paranoid. It's like, everyone is way more chill than me. Everyone has got way more silkier, longer hair than me, any race, and nobody's sitting here eating cucumbers and a banana a day and weighing out 180 pounds. Come on. God, what is wrong with my body? Anyways, I ended up having the counselor eventually start doing house calls. Eventually, I said something about my parents are too strict. I can't do anything. I was a senior in high school. I think I was actually a junior. And then I feel like, why do I feel like it was in the middle? Anyways, he was doing house calls, and it was a little bit of family counseling, and they were trying to have my dad and my mom not be so strict on being able to let me go out. And I ended up going out. I remember senior year, they had a party at bus stop or UK for unknown. We had three. I don't remember the name of the third place that they had bonfires or someone bringing a keg. I was an alcoholic, so of course I hung out at the keg. I like hanging out with the kids. It was really fun. I wouldn't want my daughter hanging out there, but that's where. The thing is, my brother got beat up. A guy in fights there, and other black boys got beat up there. I've seen some boy had a truck, and they bust out his windows, punched him out, and he drove. We were driving behind all this chaos, and they were following this boy. He was smart enough to pull into the city offices that had the police department, and then they let him. I don't know what happened when he tried to drive home. I would have personally called in for an escort. But this black, he was like light. I don't know if he was mixed. I don't care north or south. I grew up in the north. It is racist. They will try to kill you. At least when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s. This was the 90s. They will try to physically kill you. Like literally run your car off the road. Just a modern day lynching. Sundowner towns, my mom would be like, we gotta get out of Dodge before dark. And I was a kid like, what you talking about? So you have a family abuse, you have your parents lying, you have the counselor telling you you're going to go to jail because you're trying to get away from it. I said, I just need to get away from him and cool down because he was a very abusive, angry person. I went and was suicidal, and I took some pills, and my boyfriend at the time became my husband, had me cough up the pills or throw up the pills and take a walk around the block. And a couple days later, I went to the hospital. I'm on my way to a test. I went to the school clinic, and they called the police on me. And I got handcuffed and ambulance to the hospital, and it was horrible. I had an armed guard at the door. And a couple times I was at the hospital, I think different times I had to go for evaluation. I had cut my wrist. My ex-husband said, you're just trying to get attention. You do these things because you don't have enough attention. That could be true. But there's a lot of people that don't get enough attention, that don't try to kill themselves. You're hurting inside. You don't have support. Your parents hurt you. I've been sexually assaulted. Oh my gosh, there's like a pen. Guys, it's my Kamala and my Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The Converse and the pearls. It's summertime. It's not, but it kind of is. I can't take it, guys. You see what kind of person I am. This is why people don't hire me for birthing or doctor. This is why people are my friends. I have so much hurt inside. I go to counselors here to tell them I had several dozens of suicide attempts. They don't care. After 2.5 years, a new prescriber, she was really shady. She's the only one that says, do you have a safety plan? I don't even think I told her that I was suicidal. Like, I don't have like suicidal tendencies, but I get the same feeling. So, say you get a certain feeling going down a roller coaster. And you're like, ah, and your heart's doing something, and your mind, and you're laughing and crying at the same time. Like, you have that feeling, and say you're going really fast down a glass elevator. Oh my God, I got that same feeling. Say you're going up a road, steep hill, and you're going down on the highway, and you get, I get that same feeling. But none of them are actually the roller coaster. I get the same feeling when things aren't going right, or I have no one has ever checked to see if I have a deficiency. Nobody's really checked much of anything for any of my family's mental conditions, but you get that same feeling. And for a while after I had gotten in a relationship, my wrist would start tingling. You know how you could salivate, even like go to a cake shop and see like one of my favorites. I was gonna say sweet potato pie. I don't know if that sounds good to pecan pie or chocolate pecan pie. My mouth is watering. We got like a chocolate shake, nice rich chocolate shake. No chemical taste. Like you're just like you got a bunch of M&Ms, stuff I haven't had in years. You get that feeling, and you know what that feeling is, but you might not indulge. No. I do raw food diet. I'm gonna get some from my family and let them deal with that. I'm gonna go across the street and get some apples and oranges, and I'll sit there in the park and eat an apple and hope the squirrels don't attack me over it. And I would get that wrist would start vibrating, like people try to hurt you, mess with you at work, and you took years of martial arts, so you're trained to like block stuff, pencil books falling from the library shelf, because you've been literally like muscle memory. So my muscle memory go to my wrist and start tingling, and I start looking at my wrist. This has happened in the past couple of years. It used to happen more. Now that I'm talking about it, I realize it hasn't. I tell the counselors I don't say anything. This new counselor, it's like if you say something like, I don't even want to say that I was suicidal. I feel like she'd call the cops on you right now, and you'd lose your medical license. Like, I'm talking about something like 30 years ago. Oh my God, I'm so old. It's like 40 years ago. 40 years ago. I call it a domestic violence hotline to get some help, legal help, try to get my dad separated and keep him off my financial bank accounts and institutional accounts. And the person said, I said, yeah, he's like, why don't you just call your dad? I said, my dad's abusive. He's threatened my son, blah, 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 blah. I said, well, I'm going to take whatever information that you've given me that I can obtain from you, and I'm going to call the local child protective services for abuse of your children because you have a kid under 18. Like, I moved away from my dad 2,000 miles. So I've called these numbers. So with the Prozac that I took, I said, I'm not going to take it for a week. I could feel my brain like going away. Like I said, you spray the lotto numbers on the dry erase board, it just dissolves and it disappears and starts dripping. I could feel my creative side disappearing. I'm really connected with my body and with the earth, but I am really gonna cry. I'm really numb at the same time, especially since I've been doing raw. Maybe the raw and coinciding with the fact that I had that car accident and I got whiplash injury, and I had even before I moved, my right side went numb, like, immediately. I'm messed up from that car accident, guys. I need more compensation. I need disability, like, partial disability, like my chiropractor. I am pushing myself. I think of myself as an ant that just got stepped on in the middle of the road, and there's a truck coming, and it's got, like, 4 of its 6 legs broken or ripped off. It might have its abdomen ripped off or whatever, abdomen, thorax, and it's still taken, like, see, one of his arms is half ripped off, and he's still, like, gotta get out of the path of this truck, gotta get back to my family, my kids. So 8th grade, I had got a dog, so I wasn't really suicidal when that counselor was called in high school. He did come to the house, and we tried to do little footsteps for my parents to get me to be able to go out more. It didn't matter. I found my first alcohol drinks in their house. If I had never found that liquor cabinet and those beers and that peach schnapps, I might not have become an alcoholic. I probably would have, but I found it. And sometimes you find something in your house. You're like, oh, my parents have it. It can't be that bad. Or you get comfortable with it. You're not at a party for the first time drinking beer being, oh, God, that's nasty. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, I don't want to. You see someone drunk, you're like, I don't want to be like that. Something could happen. But when you have it in your own house, you have medicines in your own house. I found the liquor cabinet. My mom had a bunch of pills everywhere all the time. I used to get a lot of illnesses and sore throats. I had chloroseptic, and I had my sitting room in the basement I set up to watch TV, and I had some chloroseptic downstairs, and my dad blew up. What are you doing with these drugs down here? Oh my God. I can't believe. So I feel like I don't use chloroseptic. I feel like with the chloroseptic, you got a burning, aching throat. You're a kid. You're always sick. You're taking antibiotics. So you lose your natural defenses. You're around all these other kids. It's just like sickening. I was sick all the time. I had food allergies that no one really knew about. So imagine like sitting there as a kid with just this raw throat, and you're just like, oh, every 4 hours I'm gonna just and put it back on the table. You know, in my mind, it's like kind of like having a box of tissues around. You're just like, take as directed, you know. But yeah, I guess that's the old school. People had the medicines in the medicine cabinet and they were being monitored. My dad wasn't around a lot, so he would get blown up about stuff. Your skirt's too short. You ain't going out like that. Blah, blah. I'm like, what? Too short. My mom would buy me all these clothes. Be like, oh, this is cute. This is cute. This is cute. My dad was always gone, and those few times that he was home, it's like, we have our life here without you. That, like, there ain't no men trying to get up on me. Unattractive. I got nappy hair. People were told that blacks, well, except for my friend who's part Asian, were unattractive. I got acne all over. I felt like I was fat. I had eating disorders. So we finally got where I could go out a little bit and go to some of those parties. Guess who was driving? I was going to laugh about it. Heather. She had a big old 80s car, like a big old 4-door, with like boom, boom, boom on this dirt road, and the branches and the bushes on the side of the road were scraping against her car because it was so big. You guys remember those big old 80s square American cars? Brown. It was a nice brown color. Those were the good old days. Heather didn't drink, so Heather was a designated driver. I was in Students Against Drunk Driving. I was super serious against anti-drunk driving. I was super serious about that. I don't even know how, like, think of me as a kid. I was an alcoholic. I was trying to take drugs. I was trying to hang out with people that might know how to get drugs. I wanted to drive safely. My mom drove relatively safely. My dad was the complete opposite. He drove like he was a jet fighter plane pilot. It was very dangerous and uncomfortable. Like a stunt man, daredevil. He would pass people. There's a car coming a few hundred yards, and he'd pass a bunch of people and literally almost head-on collide. Like, he probably gives people like literal heart attacks. Later on, I couldn't get counseling in Oregon unless they said that if you're suicidal, we're not going to accept you. We don't have any room. I think it was a disparity because I'm black. There's no way you can turn everyone down and not even give intake date. I needed counseling for my son. I forgot about myself and my daughter. I called for years. I had a whole list. I don't know how long it was. 10 pages, 7 pages, 24 pages. Every place between Portland and Salem. All kinds of places. They say, oh, we don't take Medicaid. You have Medicaid. Oh, can't you just bill me? Because they would literally look up my son's name in the system. I don't know how they did it. They looked up my son's name and with birthday, and they're like, oh, he has Medicaid. I tried to call it. No, we're just going to pay cash. Well, in Oregon, you can't pay for uncovered service or covered services. Can't be billed for. But it's weird. You don't even have like a pro bono or anything, or some kind of like say it's like art therapy or something, then say that insurance doesn't cover it, then you could charge for it. I know, I'm a doctor. I do my own billing. And I think sometimes if you charge certain things that you do charge, it has to be at a normal rate, you know, at the rate that certain insurance would pay as a maximum. Anyway, it's a different story. So my boyfriend said, you have to come here and get counseling, where I got counseling and do this. And nobody talked about a safety plan. I said, I feel this way. We got in an argument about something, and I just feel down. I can't get a job. I don't have any friends. I'm not connecting with people in recovery. The counselor just, like, hold on, I gotta go feed my dogs. And I'd be bawling. I still see the same counselor. I don't want to. I tell myself, Mia, you need to effing buck up. I hate using that term because it reminds me of a black slave. You need to buck up. Ain't nobody gonna help you. You're gonna call that hotline, they're gonna try to send the feds and the feds. They're gonna try to send the police and the ambulance to try to lock you up in a psych ward. And I've been on the borderline of almost been threatened with being locked up in a psych ward and not being able to leave until a judge found me sound. I have a friend who goes around the world advocating for mental health, whose son is stuck in a psych ward in Washington State, and they're charged, what are they charging, $25,000 a month for insurance to be there? Something ridiculously. So he has been authorized to leave, and they bring in different counselors that look at the person, nope, he's unstable, he can't leave. Like, these things, are they there to help you, or are they there just to get money from you? Prison. Almost worse than prison. At least in prison, you act a certain way, like you behave, and you got a sentence, and they let you out during that sentence. So, be careful when you call the numbers. If it saves your life, look online maybe and see before you need it. Put the numbers in your phone. Before you need the numbers, look online and see what other people say. What about the local resources? What about something being called anonymous that says, I'm going to take all your personal information that you've given me, or I'm going to ask, suicide prevention I called. I said, I don't feel suicidal, but I feel the weight, like that tingling wrist. I feel hopeless. I don't feel like I don't have a plan. I'm not trying to make a plan. But you try to stay in the middle of the road. It's like your air pressure is going out of your tires. You're trying to be like, well, it's not devastating yet, but a slow leak or something. First you gotta start putting air in the tire. Second, you might get a patch, or go to the tire place and get a patch or get it replaced. Just to get it diagnosed. You're aware of it. Because if you're in a parking lot, or you're on the side of the road, or you're driving and it loses all pressure, you're stuck. You're not wanting to drive like that. So you want to stay in the middle of the road. You want to kind of maintain it until you can go in and get treated. But yeah, this new lady, I feel like you say anything, if you say you feel bad, oh, I feel great. I don't like to make myself a liar. I think I'm around toxic people when I protect myself from them, and I find myself being dishonest because I don't want. But that one lady said, oh, do you have a plan? Like, my plan is basically go to meetings, go outside, pick up the phone, call somebody, do crafting. This is simple. I call the AA hotline. I called the AA hotline when I was dating that other guy because I was going literally psychotic. Like, not like Bunny Boiler, but like, I just was like addicted to this guy, and he was really standoffish, like really, and he was dating a bunch of people that I found out when he was looking for a monogamous relationship, but he didn't disclose that he was continuing to date anyone who would date him while he was with me. He got me wrapped around his little finger. It was really embarrassing. I was having like panic and I couldn't sleep. I called IAA. They're simple things. Drink some water. Do your personal care. Brush your teeth. Wash your face. Get in the shower. Eat something. Do what you can to get to sleep. Get some sleep. It can be simple as breathing. You can meditate. You don't have to do this big hoo-ha with the incense. You can sit down on a mat and do something. I had a safety plan. I was going to domestic violence group. They were temporary because they were interns at school, probably Portland State or something. They're hosting a group at the YWCA in Portland, Oregon. We're sitting on these couches and they had us do crafts. And I threw my craft away. I always feel sad when I throw stuff away. It was paper, construction paper, and we had markers and stuff. I like drawing a bunch of flowers. It was probably pink and girly. And I had the safety plan, like, one, go outside. 2, call someone. 3, go to a meeting. I don't know what it really said, but I know go outside was one of them. I found when I go outside, I feel better. So, which reminds me, I ordered this medicine. I never ever want to take sleep medicine, and I ordered, oh, there was a group. There's a bunch of classes. I gotta do taxes still. 1 out of 4 we got done yesterday. Is it Emo Subs or Eno? I ordered this Eno, and I heard someone knock on the door the other day. And I ran back and forth and went outside looking, and I didn't get the package. And tell me it's shop. Track order was shop. You receive an email when your order is ready. I paid $54 for like a month's worth of these people rip you off. I changed the subject rapidly. Inno cleanse. I told you that I'm really heavyweight and I eat raw foods and I drink a lot of water. And I have a lot of stress. And I keep ballooning in weight. I cut out the raw noodles and the nut butter. So I'm feeling like with the mental health and being neglected by, I don't ever see doctors. I was lucky to see that psychiatrist. He didn't ask for counseling or therapy or group sessions or read a self-help book. They basically look at you like you're bad. If you want to be in this life, you got to take these drugs that we're getting paid to promote. Like, that's how I felt. You're just like another dollar sign for them. I learned a lot about mental health and counseling and medicine, straight medicine and being a doctor for all ages. People aren't contacting me to get hired. So I'm talking about these health things. I took the prazosin from Dr. Wolf for PTSD that they use on experiment for PTSD and combat soldiers. And hold on, this has iodine in it. Hold on. I didn't think I wanted it. One day I couldn't sleep and I was mad at my boyfriend. I took them. I'll tell you, I'm going to take this as prescribed because I'm a recovering drug addict and I was scared. I'm also a naturopath who wants to take only herbs. I started taking that and feeling a little weird, and then I started noticing I wasn't having nightmares. I had been single for over 15 years. I slept in the bed sometimes when my kids were little babies and stuff, but no adult had told me that I'm waking up. I know I woke up screaming and panicky and thinking that my dad was after me, but I was waking up in puddles of sweat. I thought it was because of the mattress being not natural. I had this cotton old 1950s something. Or I thought that I was perimenopausal and that my hormones were messed up. But I stopped having the severe night sweats, the nightmares, the waking up screaming. A couple times I forgot the medicine and I had really bad nightmares. They weren't as intense because I think maybe the half-life of the med maybe wasn't all the way out. I don't know. They were like, I had nightmares my whole life. I'm going to eventually talk to my brother about this. I had nightmares my whole life, and I didn't think that it was normal. I didn't think that everybody had it, but I didn't really think about it. And so I started sleeping, and I'm still frazzled, and I bought this, I wanted this cleanse. I've been gaining weight. It's not working for me. And then they're like, gave me some samples of something, and then the second time I ordered, they're like, if you do this right now, you'll get this, and they get 2 bottles of this free, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay. So then I went to go pay like $39 and ended up spending like over $100. Like, so I only got one of the melatonin ones. This person, what's that? 817. Oh, I ain't just giving that. going to ask if she can do a 15-minute, 20-minute, 20 minutes shouldn't be $35. It should be like, was it 75? 15 minutes is like 90. I don't know how much. I gotta do an appointment. So you can't just see me once in person and pay me and then have the rest of the freaking year be free. Like, and just because you come, God, I spent weeks trying to fill out this paperwork. Or maybe it wasn't. It was like a whole week it was taking me to fill out this paperwork for these patients. I had a bunch of patients that needed paperwork. Oh my God. I gotta get paid. I got some billing stuff. So anyways, jumping from I went to a domestic violence shelter. That counselor helped the parents to kind of not be so protective. I was wild, drunk, druggy anyways. Before I left the house, I was suffering. I was promiscuous. I was inappropriately touched. I feel that I was sexually assaulted as a baby when my mom wasn't around. Even though my mom was abusive, they still have a little bit of gut instinct to protect the little girls and little boys. I was extremely promiscuous at a very young age. I had puberty in first grade, and I was a younger person, so I was still 5, the very first part of first grade, and then I turned 6 in October, but I had my mom shaving my armpits when I was 6. I thought she was playing a game. I didn't know there was hair there. She was probably appalled that I had hairy underarms as a child, as a small child. Had my period in 5th grade. I was 10, I think. I wondered if it was from the TCB in my hair, if it had a hormonal. They talk about black girls having this greasy stuff, having the phytoestrogen, the xenoestrogens or whatever. This came in a nice glass jar too. I had gotten fat thighs in 2nd grade. I'd sit in the bathroom for hours and on the toilet and punch my thighs because I hated them. And I had got pubic hair when I was 8 years old at least. And I noticed I was appalled about what is sprouting down there. I never heard of it. I was using tweezers. I was so freaked out. I was pulling my hair out of my legs with tweezers because I like that pain. And some people do cutting, and we went to this conference or something, and they're talking about someone cutting. I think it was a comedy, and then they had an introduction like, a moment of silence or something, pray for these people that do cutting. And I told the woman pastor that, I had done that a lot as a child. She just looked right through me with her lips. And she used to get herpes. She used to just look right through me like. So you have a whole bunch of arena, and what is that, Portland? Used to be the Rose Garden or whatever. Or there's the Rose Garden, where's the one where the basketball team? They had all these women in there, the Christian comedy, and they're talking about this stuff. It's mainly white women, and I say something, and it's just like, that look is like, you don't matter. Oh, I feel my heart for these people. I wanted to be there with my church for the youth to help them not do drugs and alcohol and not be promiscuous and get diseases or unexpected pregnancies. I wanted to be there for mental health concerns that the world has you with this fast pace, and you're on your phone all the time, and life's going around, and it comes to your privilege, you're getting really good grades, and you don't know what 1 + 1 is. And you're going off to college, dressed like a prostitute, and everybody's like, oh, bravo, the privileged family is still privileged, oh, bravo. But this black chick, she's running away from abuse and raising her kids alone, like, trash. Our pastor at our church said, we don't want people in this neighborhood at our church. Have you ever heard a church preacher say that? You might have. I hope you haven't. I hope to God you haven't. I'm gonna tell him, hi, hello, this is a new, I could do, telehealth. I'll say 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. I'm just gonna say that. I'll just say if you're not available, I can do text health, which a lot of stuff changed since COVID, which I'm actually glad. People are busy, or they're driving, or this. People didn't want their patients driving while they were on telehealth. They thought it was rude to the doctor, naturopath. But some people were, as doctors, were having to do telehealth from their cars. I don't know. It probably, I don't know. They have remote online notaries that do stuff when they take their partner to the doctor's appointments. COVID, they had to stay in the car, so they were sitting there making money as a Ron. What can you do with your health? Even if you're like me, your hair falls off. I never cut my hair. Look how short it is. You're fat, eating salads and spinach and carrots. I got no ranch. I got no dressing. I got no cake for my birthday. Not even a piece of cake. I had cake in years and I'm fat. Like, I might as well just be eating burgers and fries. You'll probably watch me slim down. That sounds so good with pickles, mustard, and a little bit of mustard and a lot of ketchup. Oh, I want the ketchup dripping down with the grease down my chin without burning me. Oh, those are the days. You know what I want? Those mints that my teeth hurts. Those little buttery after dinner mints. Those funny pastel colored things. Do they even sell those anymore? They like melt. I like those kind of candies that are a little bit tart and they melt on your tongue like Smarties. Bottle caps. Ooh, they had that little fizziness to them. Oh, this is what I'm missing out. No, it's still gaining weight. But I'm gonna go eat a half an apple for breakfast and like 100 calories worth of nuts for lunch. And then before and after work, I'll eat half a banana each and then drink water throughout the day with one tea with a tablespoon of honey. I don't even have honey anymore. I'm not even ordering it. And I keep watching my weight go, whoosh, 179. Come on. Come on, really? A couple Brazil nuts here and there. I ate a lot of Brazil nuts. But think about your health. Think about what hotlines you can call to save your life. And think about the consequences of someone reporting your situation. The anonymity is not that much when you call a hotline. When you call a hotline that says confidential, it's not confidential, and they need to say that. People can be mandatory reporters, and people can be mandatory reporters and by law have to report certain things. It's more for seniors, disabled, and children. Like, there's stricter guidelines, but there's different guidelines and different rules. I was watching this show. It was talking about, I don't know at the time or if that's still current, California, Golden Gate Bridge, where people were not it wasn't illegal to commit suicide, so the police would talk people down, and it was upon their discretion to send them for psych evaluation, I think. So, it's stuff to think about the rules. In Portland, Oregon, they have started a psychedelic, I don't know if it's a Zoom call, where people were tripping on psychedelics alone in Zoom isolation, and it was terrifying. Instead of being partying with friends, Heartland wasn't locked down like China, but it was pretty freaky. I tell people it's really locked down and look at me like this. People were complaining out here, and it's really conservative. They thought it was a hoax. But all the people that are dead aren't around to defend the fact that that was not a hoax, to having that breathing tube and dying and being denied medicine because your privilege was not there, whatever. But yeah, think about your health. Think about your mental health. Since I started being with my boyfriend for the first time in my life, I took vitamin D. Medical school, I went and talked to my teacher specifically, especially being a person with dark skin, about being, I think we were above the 45th parallel from Portland, Oregon, and where I grew up, right below the 45th parallel in Osceola, Michigan. So they're saying, hey, even though you have sunny days, the sun intensity at this latitude is not enough to get enough vitamin D. And I wasn't drinking milk, no multivitamin, no vitamin. I was doing Whole Foods. Occasionally I'd buy those mushrooms that you put in the sun. I should put my mushrooms in that. I should put my mushrooms and my sprouts in the sun right now. Anyways, I was buying those mushrooms that had D. I kind of eat white mushrooms, right button. Anyways, I started taking the vitamin D. I got a prescription for the intense vitamin D. I haven't even taken that yet. I took it once when I got COVID. I did a case study of vitamin D, so I couldn't take it. And then I had the iron I just started taking. I did a lot before my boyfriend had to move, and think about things like that, especially doing Whole Foods, and not getting out in the sun a lot. Nutritional support, get enough fats, get enough protein, even get enough carbs. Your brain is like sugar, glucose junkie. Which I tell you, sugar's bad. You gotta look into the biochemistry and nutrition, and you're gonna see how the body uses its nutrients and how it breaks stuff down. If you do gluconeogenesis and you start breaking down your body, your actual tissues to make it, the genesis is to making something new out of something. You're turning whatever your body's breaking down into glucose. And I used to wonder before med school why a type 1 diabetic was still needing insulin if they didn't ever eat any carbs. No glucose, no sugar, no apples, no sugar with their coffee. Like, if they just eat meat and like solid vegetables that didn't have starchy stuff, and learn biochemistry, and like, oh, I struggle through biochemistry, but guess what? Right now, I memorized the visuals, not necessarily the words. I gotta go. My boyfriend's gonna be home. I'm gonna hurry up but I took this melatonin stuff. It had the smallest possible, was it micrograms or milligrams? Someone at a clinic, I was med school, a student worker telling me to give my son melatonin, and I bought it, and then I like complained later. I was like, they're not authorized to tell me what prescription. I think that stuff's still sitting in the bathroom. It's been like so many years. When did I go to school? 2009. I told my counselor I slept better than I ever had in my life. So it went up a notch with the Prazosin. or the lowest dose, and then it went up a notch. And I'm not taking that stuff regularly. He didn't give a crap. But imagine trying to get stuff done and think and drive and work 7 days a week and not be able to sleep, and only falling asleep when you're exhausted and not being able to nap if you're up late doing stuff like taxes or cleaning for inspections. And then imagine you tell your counselor you feel like sleeping, eating a healthy diet, even if you have the foods you enjoy, the pecan pie or whatever, doing the, because you can make that yourself and you know what you put in it. Doing some sort of exercises, even if you're just doing stretching while you're waiting for something to heat up or waiting for your laundry to finish. Doing some sort of spiritual seeking, whether you're atheist or not. Those don't take away those suicidal ideations. But I feel like it helps stabilize the mood. Everyone's different. This is my opinion, not as a doctor. This is my opinion as a patient, as someone suffering. Nobody's talking to me. They keep coming, oh, you're a holistic doctor. Maybe you can get paid up to $40 an hour. Like, you're getting paid like $150 an hour, and you ain't no doctor. And your other prescribers getting over $300 an hour for being flaky. It's not even an hour. It's 40 minutes. But anyways, I should be getting more than $300 an hour. In fact, some of my billing is, at least it's 90 minutes. I spend a lot of time with people and a lot of time outside. But this person might not contact me back. Oh, God. That's what I'm telling you guys. People aren't hiring me, and I wanted to help everyone. I want to transmit my knowledge to the world, but I don't want to be sued because someone's like, oh, she said take vitamin D. I had an allergic reaction and died. Like, no, I didn't tell you to take it. I told you I was taking it for the first time. I was taking the iron. Where's the iron at? I haven't been taking them out. I have really heavy menses. I don't know what happened to my iron. I clean out my area. I gotta do tests. I wish I would have slept in, guys. I wish I wasn't on this video, but in my opinion, for myself, taking iron, I hadn't taken iron since high school. It's another 20-something years ago. Everyone sees low iron, naturopaths, medical doctors, resident doctors. Used to go to checkups and get the female exam and all this stuff. I had to beg people just to order the yearly lab. I'm like, as a doctor, we learn in med school that you're supposed to get certain labs every year, certain labs at certain stages. You're this age or this, get a baseline for the men's PSA. Do hormone testing, do this thing, make sure you don't have SIBO, or make sure that you don't have any other dysbiosis of the gut. Like, there's all these simple things that don't necessarily cost a ton of money. Most of them covered by insurance. That can tell you so much. A regular CBC blood test with a little lavender top vial, just one little vial of blood, can tell you so much. I got little marks here. I wonder if that's from getting blood draws. It can tell you so much, even whether or not it's adequate or appropriate to take a antibiotic. Like, I'm in my mind thinking how it's a window. It's like looking in the eyes. Doing an eye exam, we were taught to give every patient, new patient, and then at least yearly. This is just for normal. This is for healthy people. This is not for, oh my god, I came in with green snot. Like, this is just like the normal routine exams. Do at least once a year, different types. Do head to toe, from feeling the head, measuring the head, looking in the ears, the eyes, up the nose, in the mouth. We had a dentist that was teaching how to go doing the exams. You could find some stuff. You can find out about their hygiene too. Any smells, any sores, potential cancer looking spots. You can take a Chinese medicine, do the tongue diagnosis. Throat, looking at the throat. That's not uncommon. It is nowadays. It used to be. Feeling all lymph nodes throughout the whole body, even down your legs. Pulses, different pulses, how strong is your femoral pulses and your abdominal pulses. And, like, we were measuring the aorta, the abdominal aorta. Mine is really big and has a really strong pulse. I'm like, I hope it doesn't rupture or anything. I don't know if that's normal big or abnormal, because nobody but our medical students during class has ever told me about my aorta. I don't see them measuring it like 2.5 inch, 3 inch. Like, we were told to do head to toe. I mean, if you have skin issue, you can do skin scraping, you can do wet preps, you can do this and that, and STI testing, and genital urinary, different tests, and throat swabs, and I go to a physician assistant or a nurse practitioner, and I'm like, why do you want labs? Because I haven't had them done in 3 years. But why do you want it? Because I have a history of anemia and I'm fatigued. Oh, come on now. How many times I had to get my intake every time? Like, well, we gotta go new computer system, so we lost all the old information. You have to redo your intake, and then you like get this phone call, and you're on the phone for 40 minutes doing an intake, and then they probably charge for that, and then you get this email that's like, click on here for check-in the day before. You're like doing the same intake, and then you get there, and the medical assistant asks you the same question. Like, it says not changed in the past 72 hours. I'm like, I mean, they might catch something. I'm just like, this is not efficient. I want to talk about the root of the problem. Like, oh shoot, y'all didn't discuss the root of the problem with me. I gotta go. I gotta do my kids' taxes. I gotta work a 4-hour job today. It's a reset for this job. I'm not looking forward to it, but I definitely need the money. I'm gonna need to go. I didn't even go outside yesterday. I would, for myself, like I said, I'm a doctor. I've been licensed since 2015. I could have got licensed in 2014, but I waited to take the, I passed the national exams, but I didn't take the local ones until November, so I didn't get the, I took the national in August. You could have taken it local in August, but I took them. I didn't want to be overwhelmed. I was like, let's just get to the national, because that's the monster. Then we'll take the local and we'll deal with that. Shoot, guys. Our state didn't have a local. They need to have a local so that the farm could be open book in some instances. And at Washington State, I think the whole test was, it took me over a year to do like 20 questions. That's a whole nother story. I'm going to tell you that. Some of the test pages, I had answered it on paper, the pencil. I found some of this stuff in my rabbit's cage, chewed up. He had this Pendleton blanket that he made a tent between the playpen wall, that's like a ferret type tall wall, and he had tented, so his hair is all nested in there, and he'll grab goodies and mail and stuff, and he'll hide it in there. You don't wonder what happened to certain bills or certain stuff. Like, guinea pigs somehow end up chewing on stuff from the library. But I was like, oh, I keep forgetting that I'm not organized, and like 6 months go by. Oh my god, I never sent that test in. I'm missing a page. I gotta redo this whole test. I don't even know if the answers are right. It was open book. I have found one of the pages in the rabbit. There is hope if you have pets. My dog saved my life when I was in 8th grade. I got her before 9th grade. My ex-husband abused the dog and my animals. They all died. Not from him, but because they got out in the road in West Virginia. I hear something. I'm gonna cry. Or guinea pigs help me. I hear so many people say how stupid guinea pigs are. They're not stupid. They're really good beggars. They know when their fridge is open. They know who will feed them. The people that feed them treats like me, they get all cute. They'll dump their dishes over and they'll pose like elephants. Like, they'll be like, and my son wasn't feeding them treats. They see him and hear him coming down the stairs. They're just like, my daughter listened to that Things in Her Environment. My rabbit was ringing a bell one day. My daughter kept calling me, wondering why this animal was ringing the bell. She found out his water bottle was empty. And when she walked down the stairs, she kept walk up and down the stairs, ding, 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 ding. Animals aren't stupid, they got brains. I think there's even rodents are smarter than some people. I mean, I don't think rabbits consider a rodent, even though their teeth grow. But I'd wake up, kids are almost grown, raise the kids in a house in a Somali Middle Eastern neighborhood in Oregon, and I'd be struggling right now, and I'd see them pigs posing and teasing me. I'd put my feet on the side of the bed to get up and use the bathroom, and I could hear them things crying. They died. Squeak, 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 squeak. Because they know my footprints, they understand my weight, they can sense through the, I was over them, so actually I was over to the side, but it was just like one big open room downstairs. It used to make me laugh. I get sick. I'm going to tell you, my daughter would bring me the rabbit, you need to pet him. And my boyfriend tries to bond and cuddle with me, and I get to where my skin can't be touched. I'm hypersensitive, even though I'm numbish. I was beaten as a kid. I was sexually assaulted by multiple men, including a young child, and a baby, and a young adult, and even in a gay bar. And I was getting high and drunk. So when I went on high, or when I went high, when I went clean and sober, my kids would grab my legs, and I couldn't handle only like 30 seconds. So when I had been at that stage of sobriety, I had never had a boyfriend. God told me, when you take your own interpretation of that spiritual voice, 20, or that gut feeling, that still small voice, the inner instinctual, more than once, but the last time that, so when I was going to take 2014, I don't know, I was supposed to get on online dating, I didn't listen to that voice, and I got on it. Something in 2018 told me to get some hair oil, growth oil, and figure out what was causing all this acne during menses. And I have been told how ugly I was because I have all the black scars from acne on my skin. And I think I was still losing weight. I started going to yoga at People's. I got a pass to go to the community center. I was working all the time, so I can only go to one class. I started fizzling out on that when I started dating that other guy. It was like at 7:12 or some weird time. She had to kind of leave before 6. It was hard. I was working at Pizza Hut at that point, so I was getting home from work 3 or 4 in the morning. It sucked. I mean, there's one time I got home, the sun was coming up. Oh, it sucks. Get there at 3 in the afternoon or 2 in the afternoon if you're covering somebody. So you think about how to try to go to the gym, try to take these classes, just beginner class. It was really hard. A bunch of 70-year-old women were in way better shape. Oh, I'm about to pass out here. And these women are like, yeah, there's like this music. Choo, 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 choo. I think my boyfriend's home. I don't know. But, I felt like love yourself and then find a mate after being alone for 15 years. And it's not just alone. It's not like there was no dating. There was no friends. There was no hanging out with friends. I did have a friend from a meeting that we'd go to meetings sometimes and giggle, but she, with her mental condition, she'd be like this, like, oh yeah, let's do. And then she'd just drop off the face of the earth. And, like, years. I had other friends like that, where you're like having fun, let's do this every day, let's do the spiritual path, let's pray, let's talk on the phone, let's hang out, let's clean each other's houses, and then they disappear for years. And you're like ghosted, and it's depressing. You feel like you know that they're busy, or they're single parents, or this or that, and you just feel like, I don't know, they can't even answer the phone and text and tell you that hey, they're going through something right now and they're not able to do all those fun things that they said that you wanted to do. So I started buying lingerie from the thrift stores, partly because Rockstar Flipper was flipping them on online selling. But I started doing the different types of underwear for myself. I'm not sure if I was able to wear this out in public because there's a reason that at thrift stores that it doesn't fit right, or the chest is too small, or the chest is fine and the waist is too small or too big or whatever. But I started doing it under my clothes. It's like, for me, it's not like going out wearing some sexy clothes to try to show off or try to attract somebody. I did have a crush on this one guy, but he blew me off really badly. So, and there's another guy with short Latino. He wanted to hang out, and one day he said, "Hey, I'm gonna get you lunch at lunchtime. I'll come get you, or come meet me at a certain time." I actually went to find this dude, and he disappeared. And I was like, okay. Like, you were flirting with me for the past few months. Like, this is the only guy that's flirting with me. His name was Alfredo. And I was like, okay. I never saw him again. I went into that Fred Meyer. He had been a guest at the other. I went into that Fred Meyer before. I don't know if I think I only went a couple times with my boyfriend, my current boyfriend, and I was like, I wonder if that guy's still working there. She's gonna see me. Like, I would have gone out. I went to go find that guy because he said he wanted to do lunch that day, and I take people for their word. So I had very, very, very non-existent interest in me, friendship-wise or relationship-wise, and I'm pretty crazy. A lot of the crazy is because of the way that we were abused as children, and then became daredevil and alcoholic and addict and all this stuff, and having to put up with abuse. It's like my parents like wipe their hands, like, oh, we abused her whole life. Now she's out in the world hanging out with the wrong crowd and abusive husbands. So, but it's like the devil's like someone else is taking care of it. My little henchmen are taking care of it. And then when I was alone, and it's like, oh, she's trying to destroy herself. So our work is done. She got trained to treat herself like trash and to treat herself as a punching bag. So I had to learn. I'm still learning just to rise up. Like, here's like suicidal, here's like depression, here's like self-hatred and low self-esteem and self-confidence. Someone said they were esteemed. They said to get self-esteem, you need to do things that are esteemed or something. I was like, I never heard it like that. I like that. And then I don't really like it that much because just like certain things with depression, the Christians would be like, oh, that's the devil. You're playing with the devil. That's why you're like that. And then there's people that would justify, well, I have a deficiency in my brain, chemical deficiency. That's why I have to take these drugs. Like, just take them. Let your higher power guide you to something that works for you. If it doesn't work, then take something else and go to a different practitioner. So it's really hard for me to think about trying to help as many people. That's why my symbol for Tower of Health LLC is transmitting health to the community. That's why my symbol is a tower. Because I'm thinking radio and now Zoom calls, and you can do classes, you can write books, you can do publications, be on the radio, all these different things. I basically have done some more with my life with my boyfriend because he's using the tools in the society to get himself better, and he envisions me getting better, and he's found me super broken. He's like, I found you, and God told me, or the force told him the voice said, take care of this girl or whatever. I'm like, you tripping. You're just saying that. Like, you're just saying that because I'm easy going. Not really, but I'm too busy, absorbed in struggling to survive and keep the kids fed and housed that I'm, too much. So, I gotta do taxes and I gotta go to work. This sucks. I I can't believe that nobody gave me vitamin D. My levels were like 2 or something at when they're naturopath. They know that I'm smart enough. Like, they used to be like, oh, like even in med school, oh, you're smart enough here, write your own treatment plan. Like, literally, like, write it out. Or verbalize it. The doctor would type it and sign it. And be like, oh, like, go to the medicinary. It wasn't a pharmacy, but go to the medicinary and get these herbs and stuff. Here's the doctor's note. Like, but I would write my own, which I didn't. It made me feel kind of smart. I'm like, she's the one that has the license. She shouldn't be able to just off the top of her head do a treatment plan. I'm like, whatever. I think a lot of people, like my friend, they didn't go to class, so they got by enough to pass the test and do really well on the test and get honors even. But as far as the bulk of the information and how it integrates and that stuff, forming a memory in your mind, I think that they'd have to go and look crap up. And these people are making way more money than me. Like, trust me, they got the basics. Just do the basics. Just get your grade, get your patients, have your clinic, and get paid, get paid, get paid. Like, whether you're dumb as a doornail or not. That's the problem with me. I'm so complicated that I wouldn't be surprised if I get like quadruplets for my next set of patients. And just like trying to be like, I don't even know what, like, who's who. Like, I'm in a house with 4 or 5 patients at the same time. One family, everyone's running around, the kids are cussing, the TV's turned up all the way, someone else is talking on the phone, I'm on the phone with their other provider, or the school, or this, people knocking on the door. It's just like taking notes. Gotta go do my chart now in my pajamas at a house call, and I'm gonna go to work at Pizza Hut. And insurance is deciding not to pay me for any of this. Like, I spent 2.5 hours here treating 5 or 6 people, prescribing meds. You know, the pharmacy got paid. Prescribing meds, imaging, sending them to counseling, making all their appointments, setting up the medical transport cab. All those people got paid, and I coordinated it all, and I didn't get a penny for that crap. And I've done this dozens and dozens of times, guys. So pray for me, guys. Don't let people tell you that your feeling is you trying to get attention, or you have the devil in you, or that you're something wrong with you, you're weak. Think of some of the best artists and musicians and stuff. There's some struggles and some empathy there. So find other people that are like you. If you're doing 10,000 jobs like me, don't be surprised that you're going to be anxious and hopeless. Because, like I want to do when I'm doing my taxes, I want to watch some Everest, because I haven't watched it. I forgot about that 3 days ago. I said I should watch someone climbing up Everest. Was it Beck Winters? Was that his name? Or Weathers? I was thinking Winter Weather. That doctor who almost died, who has his nose burnt off from this, or froze off. I think he's from Texas. There's many documentaries on YouTube. They had left him to die, and he was laying face down, and people just walk right past him, summiting the mountain, Everest, and going back down, descending. They just leave you for dead, and he found his way, in a vision of his wife or something, he found his way in the tent, and they gave him some tea, and they left him alone in the tent to die. They're like, oh, he's not going to make it, no one can carry him down the mountain. And he ended up going out and seeing everyone had left him up there. They didn't say, hey, we're descending, come walk with us. They just laid him down and put some kind of, I don't know, thing on the tent, and then he walked himself down. Didn't he have snowblind or something? I don't know if this. He walked himself down to descend and came into a camp or something. They must have called base camp. Oh, this guy's actually alive. We need someone to help rescue. I mean, come on. I know that you have altitude mind sickness, but you're encephalopathy. You have a human being, and your goal is I have to summon, and I have to get the heck out of Death Zone. You're gonna leave a living person just laying there. No oxygen. No hand up, at least let him walk. No, hey man, come on. You got a family. Let's get down this rock. And I feel like that in life. I've had so many times where literally I'm laying in the ground, falling down, injured, haven't been robbed, haven't been raped, haven't been hurt, and everyone's like, those people get raped on the freaking trains and buses, and everyone just watches, takes pictures of it. Oh, someone's going after somebody, ooh, we ain't saying nothing. It happens to my patients who are black, it happens to people that aren't black. All those times when your counselor is more worried about what dog is whining and this and that, and you're crying saying that you feel at your lowest mentally, and they come back and say, oh, what were you saying again? I can't hear you. Oh wait, that's my phone ringing. Oh wait, let me text these people. And then you're like, okay, I gotta write an email, keep talking. And you're like, you gotta fuck up sometimes. I hate saying that. You want to put the weight on these people that are getting paid to give you. Hello? So the last video I did not post, and that was insanity from doing my taxes, and people laughed. I talked about my kids having anxiety and not wanting to leave the house. They laughed. I said people were home during COVID, and my kids did really well on Zoom. It's not funny. It's a real... It'd be like laughing because someone has OCD and they wash their hands. It takes them an hour and a half to get out of the house because they wash their hands and using 3 bars of soap. And you're like, oh, you're always late. They're always like, it's fun. No, there's a problem. And we can't get help for that problem. So we have to take care. Like, it's like being on a ship and having to grow your plants and have chickens with eggs and distill your own water, or like desalinate your water and deal with storms, deal with illnesses and delivering babies. It's like you have to like take up the slack and you hope you have a support network. But if you're like that kid on Dove, if you're by yourself, whatever you put on that ship when you got there and whatever you could barter and whatever buy when you get to an island somewhere, you're on your own, kid. And I hate saying that because most people would say, call a support network, get a support group, go to your doctor, your hospital, your counselor, get a prescription, get a group, get a, what do you call it, like a referral to psych evaluation and this and that. And I had, when my son tried to say to me, I had to wait years for an intake. And then after you take an intake, it's going to take months and years after that to even get your first appointment. God forbid you miss the appointment or something. And at this place now, they're like, we're going to put you on a 1-year ban list. If you miss the other appointment, they're going to never see you again. And like, oh, I have psych problems, and you're telling me that? You're scaring me. Like, that's scary. It's not as scary as a monetary fine, but if you have money, a monetary fine isn't that big of a deal. But when I made that video, people could laugh. I didn't post it, but I was literally doing 4 people's taxes, including me as a notary. And I'm going to show you that I have these 2 that I have to put on my list, and I have papers. This is just a small amount that has only a few jobs, only a few checks. Most are from this year. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only have 6 checks here. I don't even know if I got paid. And I have 2 more. One of these is a 1 of 2. They sent 2 different checks, so I only have... I should have had over 20. I might not have gotten paid for all of my jobs, so this is concerning. I need to do my records better, but this is... I gotta do 3. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna finish my kids and fix a couple things, and then I'm gonna have to go to a different job, come back, finish the nighttime activities, and tomorrow morning I'm gonna have to do the 3 schedule C's, or 3 or 4 schedule C's for myself on paper, and see if I could try to do it on H&R Block. But I didn't see anything for jury duty pay. I didn't see anything for notary pay. So I'm gonna have to figure out if on today's already Wednesday, if on Thursday that I have to take and send a check or do something, send something in on paper because I'm not sure what's open Friday. The stock market or some trading is closed on Friday because of Good Friday, and I don't know about Saturday. And Monday says Easter Monday. So when I say that I was getting stressed out and feeling really depressed because of taxes, I was not exaggerating. It still is driving me crazy, but the mornings aren't as bad, except I'm super tired. Peace.